Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about a Middle Eastern brand that has over 4,300 inspired versions of fragrances. I'm so excited. But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird Wonderful family. I would love to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. The fragrances that I'm sharing with you today come from a company called Generic Perfumes. Now, they come out of Kuwait. They've been around for about 8 years, and they have literally 4,300 or more inspired versions of fragrances, from Roja to Xerjoff to designer. They have it all. What I love about the way that they've done things is that they're giving credit to the original perfumer. They're giving credit to the original house. They're saying who created it, the house that it comes from. Everything is full disclosure, and they make it very clear that they are creating inspired versions, so they're not identical, they're not exact. An inspired version never is. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll create a fragrance that's very similar, but then they put their own twist on it a little bit. So that's what this company does. They have so many to choose from, and what I love about them as well is that they have reed diffusers. They've got different products that you can buy in different forms as far as perfume, from oils to sprays. They also have accord oils, oud oils. There's so many things that they do besides just the inspiration versions. They also have what's called layered perfumes, which is kind of like a melding of 2 to 3 different types of fragrances. So they have those versions as well. The other thing that I really love about the company, you can access the fragrance in different forms. So if you are one that enjoys creating your own body care, like I have always been into creating my own body scrubs, sometimes I'll create scented lotions. So this, you can actually get like a decent amount of the oil, and then you can do whatever you want with it. They also have accord oils, which are single note fragrant oils like pineapple, black currant, all sorts of different ones that you can choose from. Like, it's a crazy amount. So I'm excited to share with you some fragrances. I've got 3 perfume oils. They're all 30%, so extrait de parfum from that are more niche-y style, and I've got some of the fragrant oil accords that I want to share with you, and then I want to make a body scrub with you guys. So I'm so excited. So we'll get started on the presentation. The presentation is very simple, and I don't know if I even said the company. They're Generic Perfumes. That's the name of them. The first time I heard about these was from Val, and she's bought quite a few. When she comes back for a visit, she's going to bring her generic perfume collection, and we're going to talk about them again. But this is the container that they come in, and they're just like a plain Jane kind of bottle with this gold sprayer. To be honest, I'm not in love with the packaging. It's pretty utilitarian, gives you the information of the fragrance on here. The sprayers are not the best, but the cool thing too is that they're totally refillable. So you can buy just the perfume oil and put it in if you choose later. So I want to share the perfume oils. So these are the inspired fragrances first. And what's cool is you can get the inspired fragrances in several different types of concentrations and mediums. So they have roll-ons, which is just the straight perfume oil. They have perfume oil kind of in bulk that you can get. They have the perfume sprays. They have a cosmetic section, which includes body lotion, body mist, hair mist, massage oil, silky lotion, silky cream, scented soap, or 30-gram perfumes. So solid perfumes. And then they also have home fragrance. You can get a candle, you can get car fresheners, diffuser oils, air fresheners, so many, and wax melts. So tons of different options. So if there's a fragrance that you absolutely love that's niche and you're not a fan of even using inspired fragrances, but let's say you want it for a diffuser in your home because you want your home to smell super luxurious, or something for your car, this is a great way to get that without breaking the bank. Yay! I'm so pumped. Okay, so the first fragrance, I got 3. The first fragrance was Santel Carmen by Atelier Cologne. Now, Atelier Cologne, they used to have it in Sephora, and the Santel Carmen was the one that I was always drawn to. It was kind of a spicy, kind of creamy sandalwood fragrance, super luxurious. It was this gorgeous gold bottle with red writing. I think they've changed the bottle. So I was really excited about trying this fragrance. Now, I thought to myself that I remembered what it smelled like, but when I smelled this, it wasn't familiar to me. I couldn't remember what Santel Carmen smelled like. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I should have picked one that I really, really knew well. That said, I absolutely love this. So it has lime, bergamot, and saffron in the opening, sandalwood, guaiac wood, and white musk in the heart, and papyrus, cedar, and vanilla in the base. What I can say is it smells delicious. It's very luxurious smelling. The primary star is definitely that sandalwood, and it smells super opulent and rich. The thing that I love about this, as opposed to Atelier Cologne, is I find that Atelier Cologne doesn't last at all. They're colognes, so their percentage of perfume oil is way less. So sometimes that means that they're not going to last very long. This is 30%, so an extrait de parfum. So if I put this on, it's on all day, and I really, really enjoy this. But primarily, I'm getting the woodiness. On the cap, I smell the lime. I smell some of that saffron. It smells delicious. On the skin, I definitely get the lime in the opening, but then quickly it just kind of goes to that sandalwood more so than anything. That said, super luxurious. And the sandalwood in this one is different than sometimes santal or sandalwood. There's a green, almost a minerally or metallic feel. This one is more like that creamy wood smell. I like both versions of sandalwood, but this is definitely the more kind of creamy wood, a little bit of a pencil shaving vibe, that kind of feel. So really enjoy this one, and I'm really excited to actually pair this with other fragrances as well, like something like Kayali's Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar. I really like sandalwood with those sweet, sweet fragrances. I find that it kind of grounds them. So really enjoy this one. It wasn't what I was anticipating, but I still really like it. The only thing that I would say about this is that it's better for fall and winter, really. Totally unisex, gorgeous fragrance. The next fragrance that I decided to try is one of my favorite fragrances for summer. Like, I just love it. And that is Mandorlo Dicilia by Acqua di Parma. So I love it, but I haven't pulled the plug and bought the original yet. So I thought, I'm going to try this. Now, I do have a big sample of Mandorlo Dicilia from Hesse. So I tried them both on my skin. And when I smelt this one on its own, I instantly thought, Mandorlo Dicilia. It smells totally like that. Oh, it's totally awesome. So to me, Mandorlo Dicilia smells like sparkly root beer, like very fizzy, effervescent A&W root beer. Do you guys have A&W in the rest of the world? Canada, it's a big thing. But anyway, it's the best root beer ever. It smells kind of creamy. It's so crazy because the notes don't sound like root beer at all. So the notes are green almond, star anise, orange, bergamot. In the heart, it's white peach, ylang ylang, and jasmine. The base is bourbon, vanilla, tolu balsam, white musk, and cedar. I got it in my mouth. Anyway, I don't get any of those notes. What I get is root beer. So when I first sprayed this, I'm like, it smells just like Mandorlo Dicilia. When I tried the two of them side by side, like, so I had one on one hand, one on the other. Part of the way that I kind of decide whether a fragrance smells exact is if I smell the original on my hand and then I go to smell the inspired version. If I don't really smell the inspired version, I know that they're really similar. So for whatever reason, if I smell it here and I can't smell it here, I know they're really similar. It's kind of a principle that I use from being in band. So when you have something that is the same, there'll be no dissonance to it. So when we used to tune as an orchestra, I played the tenor sax. The leader would do one note, that he had tuned to whatever. And then we would all play that note. And what you wanted is you didn't want to feel any vibration. So if you felt like a big kind of wah, 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 like that, it was flat. If you heard wah, 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 the note was sharp. So I find that it works the same way with fragrance, where if I smell something that smells the same, and if you were completely in tune with that note, you just heard the note flat, no warbling at all. So for me, it's the same thing with fragrance. When I'm smelling something that's inspired, if it smells very, very similar, I'm barely going to be able to smell it. I'll be able to smell the things that aren't quite on. And so with this one, I smelt the original, and then I smelt this, and I could always smell this. So this just smelt slightly different. So it wasn't exact at all. However, when I'm smelling this on its own, I get Mandorlo Dicilia. So do they smell exactly the same? No. And actually the company, like I said, has made it clear that they are not trying to be exact. They are doing their inspired version. So it's inspired by. So that said, it totally gives me the same vibes, and I'm totally excited to have this one. This one projects pretty decent. It was probably the least long lasting, but definitely longer lasting than Mandorlo Dicilia. So really am excited to use this for summer. It's gorgeous. Now, the last inspired version that I got was Sweetie AOUD by Roja Parfums. So this one, I just loved Sweetie AOUD. I had a sample of it, and I was totally in love with it because it had the oud in it, but then there was this sweet, almost like a sweet bready vibe that kind of gave me the vibe of a croissant. So I thought croissant and oud. And there was a hint of sweetness in it, but it was just an oud croissant, which sounds really weird, but I loved the smell of it. I thought it was so gorgeous. So when I tried this one, I was actually disappointed in this one. So I didn't get any of the bread feel in this one. So where I really noticed the bread component in the original Sweetie AOUD, I didn't get that in this one. That said, I really do actually enjoy this fragrance. And when I tried it on my skin, I came out and my husband was like, that smells amazing. What is it? So he really liked this one. I would love to smell this on him. And basically what you're getting is an oud with some complex sweetness in there, but it stays a little bit more spicy, a little bit more oudy. I don't get the bread component in this. And that was what I was really excited about. So it ended up being not anything like I remember Sweetie AOUD to be. And for me, the standout was that bread feel in it. That said, I really do enjoy this one. Sweetie AOUD, or the inspired version, has Artemisia and bergamot in the opening. In the heart, it has rose. And then the base is where all the magic happens, and there's a ton of notes. Amyris, oud, cardamom, cedar, labdanum, cumin, cypriol oil, olibanum, guaiac wood, balsam, juniper, patchouli, and more labdanum. I think more labdanum. I get a real spicy, resinous oud with some hints of sweetness. I don't notice any rose. I don't really get any of that top notes. It's just that resinous, woody, spicy, kind of oudy vibe in this. But it's got enough sweetness that I feel like it's totally unisex. So I don't think total masculine fragrance when I smell this. I really, really do enjoy this. In fact, out of all three, this is the one that I've worn the most because I enjoyed the scent. But to me, it missed the mark as far as it being like Sweetie Oud. So I was disappointed in that, but still happy to have it. The other thing that I wanted to get from Generic Perfumes was their perfume accords. I've got coconut, pineapple, rum, blackcurrant, strawberry, and lime. They're single note accords, and there's a few different things that you can do with them. So my favorite out of all of these was the blackcurrant. Blackcurrant happens to be one of my favorite notes, period. So when I smelt this, to me, it's absolutely mouth-wateringly delicious. So I think it's such a fantastic fragrance. And if you get it with the roller on, the way that I would wear this is I would put it on my skin, put it on my skin, maybe with some unscented moisturizer. And it smells like a green, mouth-watering blackcurrant. But then what I did with mine was I mixed it with Elisable Parfum, which is essentially a white floral, kind of a honeyed white floral with a bit of cedar. So when you all of a sudden add a single note to a fragrance that is primarily a floral or primarily something, you just completely elevate the fragrance. So whether I mixed it with a blackcurrant, or whether I add some rum to give it a little bit of a booziness, whether I add a pineapple to it or whatever, you can all of a sudden mix these oils in with some of these linear florals or just a linear fragrance. Thinking about Santel Carmen, so you've got just the sandalwood. So to mix it with a coconut would be amazing, or to add something like a blackcurrant or anything. You could get a floral accord to add to any of your fragrances as well. So to me, it's an excellent way to begin to experiment with layering, where you're only having to work with one note, but it significantly can change your fragrance. So when I mixed the blackcurrant with Elisable Parfum, I was in love with it. Like, I just absolutely loved it. But honestly, I like this blackcurrant even on its own because I just love blackcurrant so much. Or if you have a fragrance, let's say, that has blackcurrant, like for instance, C by Armani, and you want to kind of amp up the note, having one of these oils is a great idea as well. So out of all the oils, I really loved the blackcurrant. I loved the rum. So I love a boozy note and I love adding booze. And this smells like I want to drink it. Like, it's this sweet kind of spicy rum smell, just fantastic. So really impressed with that. The pineapple one, let me remember it. Yeah, it's pineapple-y. It's quite artificial feeling. So this one, not as big of a fan, but it's still okay. Like, once it's on the skin, it gets pretty pineapple and it stays pretty good. I enjoyed the strawberry one as well. To me, this doesn't come across as candy-like. This smells more like an actual strawberry that you're smelling. So no strawberry candy, no strawberry syrup. It smells a little bit green. It would be, to me, what people would consider more of a wild strawberry smell, where you're getting the strawberry mixed with a little bit of earthiness and a little bit of green. So really enjoyed that one. Really excited to try this one with Elisable Parfum too. And then the coconut oil, that was the one that I didn't like the most. So on the roller ball, it smells like coconut, like just total coconut flesh. On the skin, it gets a little bit powdery for me, and coconut to me is always tricky because sometimes it goes really powdery, a little bit artificial feeling, and this one is like that. So on my skin, I just did not like this coconut one at all. Like, it's okay, but it wasn't one that I would want to be mixing with stuff. I'm going to try it in my body scrub. And the last one is lime, and the lime is delicious. Like, it's a really great, bright, true lime feel. So really liked it. The only one that I wasn't crazy about at all was the coconut, and the pineapple was a little bit iffy. But other than that, really great. So I am going to take you guys on a little bit of a journey and show you how I would make a body scrub. And I have been doing these forever. So excited to use these oils. Honestly, you could use any of the perfume oils. So let's say you love Delina. You could buy the perfume oil, just straight up oil from Generic Perfumes, and then make your own body scrub in the smell of Delina, or literally whatever cranks your jets. They have 4,300 inspired versions of popular fragrances. So let's take a little bit of a trip to the kitchen and we will mix up a little bit of a body scrub. So I have a few ingredients here. First, I have just a container to make the scrub in. I have some pink Himalayan salt. I've got some sugar. I tend to do, sometimes I'll do a sugar scrub, sometimes I'll do a salt scrub. I'm going to do a mixture of the two. I also have different oils that you can use. So you can use coconut oil for sure. I also have castor oil, jojoba oil. You could use almond oil. You could use vegetable oil for that matter if you wanted to. Avocado oil is nice, but this is what I have on hand. So the way that I would start is I would take a little bit of my coconut oil. I want to use the coconut oil for a couple reasons. First of all, my son uses coconut oil on his skin all the time. So I thought he might want to try this. So coconut oil is nice on the skin. So I'm going to use a good chunk of that. And mine's a bit softened. I'll whip mine just because here it's still cold enough that it's not fully melted. But yeah, that's what I have there. And then the other oils I will leave till the very end. So I'm going to mix some sugar in there. The idea is that you want to have a little bit of a good kind of grit in there so that it will feel good on the skin. And then I'll just mix it in. I have this little mini fork. You could use a whisk or whatever. You can also melt the oil completely so that it's a little bit workable or a little bit easier to work with. I'm not going to bother doing that. So I have quite a lot of salt and sugar in there. I like to feel it and see how much of a grit I have on it. And I actually want a little bit more. So I'm going to add a bit of sugar. I love this pink Himalayan salt just because it looks pretty. And I actually got this at the dollar store. So it's not like you have to spend a whole lot of money to do this kind of thing. And personally, I just find it fun. You can do it for yourself, for your family. You can also do it as a gift. So here's my pink Himalayan salt. And obviously you can make a larger batch if you like. I've got it nice and mixed. Now I'm going to start to add my oil in, and this is the jojoba oil. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add less of the castor oil, but castor oil is also really good for the skin. It's quite thick and rich. And then I'm going to mix this up again. And now at this point, okay, so now it's looking more like a scrub, right? The coconut oil, of course, has a bit of a scent. So the reason why I wanted to use that is because I'm going to use my rum, my coconut oil, and my pineapple oil to make kind of a pina colada type vibe. So I have these. I'm going to actually remove the ball if I can. I'm going to take this whole component out. Okay, that came out easily enough, so not a problem there. Now the other thing is I recommend rinsing your pipette every time you use this, and I'm kind of going to do equal parts. So this is the rum oil. I'm going to start with 1 ml. Now we have the pineapple, about 1 ml. I'm going to add 1.5 mils of coconut, just because the coconut is probably the lightest out of the fragrance. Okay, now I just mix that together. You want to make sure that you incorporate your oils. And seriously, this is going to be the most luxurious body scrub. Like you make it for scents and you make it to order. Whatever it is that you're liking or fancying, you can use that. Okay, so smelling it, I definitely have enough of the coconut. To get more of a pina colada scent, I need to add more of the pineapple. So I'm going to add another 1 ml, and then I'm going to add actually 1.5 mils of my rum. Once I get it to where I want it, then I would just write it down so that I know exactly what I need, what my ratios are. So let me take a sniff. Okay, so the rum is coming through gorgeously, but the pineapple, which is obviously more of a top note, it needs to be more. So we're going to do 1.5 of the pineapple. I'm so excited! And mix it up with my little tiny fork. Okay, now for me, this is too runny. So I'm actually going to add more sugar, way better. And I love the color of this. Let's add just a tiny bit. Whoa, that ended up being more salt than I planned, but that's a better consistency for sure. Let's take a sniff. That smells amazing. Let's go wash my hands. So I've got you here at my sink. Here's my scrub. Now it's way more liquid than I had anticipated. So I would actually add more salt and sugar, but for today I'm just showing you. The oil does settle, so you have to give it a bit of a swirl every time you use it. But yeah, definitely it's too loose. So I would add more sugar. and salt to this and make more, or coconut oil. So I've got some in my hand, and let's see how it works, see how the smell lasts once I've rinsed it off. So it feels fantastic. I love using salt sugar scrubs, and they're so easy to make yourself. So anyway, I guess that's way too close of my hands, but just consider yourself privileged. So my hands are nicely moisturized. My skin feels amazing. I highly recommend using a bit of castor oil with the coconut and the jojoba. I just think it's a beautiful combination. And the smell, like I was actually shocked because I wasn't sure how much of the perfume would last on the skin. And I can smell it. It smells super pina colada-y. Like I got my pina colada fragrance. But I can smell the pineapple, I think, a little more than any of them. But I love it. Like, I just love it. So think about all the fragrances that you love, finding the inspired version, and then making your own body care using their oils. So I think if I were to purchase, I would consider going with the bigger oils. I'll show you on the screen here because I think that that's a little bit better bang for your buck if you're wanting to use it for bath products and whatnot. I'm really impressed with the scent and the scent that I made myself. So overall, really impressed with this company. The only thing that I would say is you need to make sure that you're specifying what type of product you want, from a roll-on to just the fragrance oil in the kind of container to a perfume spray and so on. So pay attention to that. All their oils are cosmetic grade, so they work in doing lotions and that sort of thing. So I just think it's a great way to get your favorite fragrance, either buying the inspired version because that's what you can afford, that's what you'd prefer to budget because it fits in your budget, or getting the oils to make your own body care products if you like, or you can buy their versions of the body care products. I just think that they're a really interesting company to explore. You can use MC10 for actually 25% off for the next 2 weeks. So if you are interested, head to their website. Everything will be linked down below. I'm totally thrilled with them and really love the longevity. Like I said, I didn't think that Sweetie AOUD smelled like Sweetie AOUD, the original. It smells similar, but it's just missing that bread component. Mandorlo Dicilia, although it's not identical, it still gives me the same vibe. And Santel Carmen, I couldn't remember, but I still really liked it. So yes, if you have tried any of these fragrances from this company, please weigh in and let us know what you think. What have you tried? What works? What didn't? And other than that, have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.